And hello, and today we're having a look at the PreSonus Faderport 16. Last looked at this a year or two ago, and I think my conclusion then was yes, it's workable with FL Studio. Is it ideal? No. Could PreSonus do better? Yes. And there's a few more opportunities around the scripting area as well, but ideally, what we want to see is a dedicated Mackie setting in the same way that they have for Logic, Cubase, Sonar, and Ableton Live. We'd like to see one for FL Studio as well, please. Linked into a script that gives you all the functionality that this controller can deliver. Anyway, I'm chatting away. I can't do two things at once. Let's fire up FL Studio, and I'll start to show you what we have today. As I say, not a lot different to the last time we looked at this, but still very usable in 2023. I'm going to load up demo song from 9 Dupes Keep It Simple, which is one you'll have heard me use before. And let's get stuck in straight away. So with the transport controls, I'm going to hit play and turn that down. Let's turn it down so you can hear what I'm saying. Let's switch off. You don't really need to have that visible. Now with the play control, it's play and pause. So I've hit play again, it's paused, and I can start again from that position. If I hit stop, it's going to take me to the start and start me again at the start of the track. I can jump through the track backwards and forwards. And is that low enough? Yeah, okay. So let's leave that going. Let's take it forward to where we've got a bit more going on. And I'll show you what's going on along here. I can select tracks, obviously, and you'll see that reflected on the mixer on the left of the screen as I select the tracks on the right. I can solo tracks. So that's the kick drum track. That's the snare. Hi-hat, toms, which there aren't any at that particular point in the music, cymbals, and we've just missed a cymbal, I think. Drums is all the percussion, I think, that goes with it, and then there's some other soloing options going in here. Oh, there's an interesting one, a server. So that's part of the mix going on. Hit the solo button again and you're back to the track. I can mute certain tracks, so I could mute the kick drum. Let's mute the hi-hat. That's a bit more obvious, isn't it? Let's mute the snare. Okay, so that's all working well. I can go through the tracks one by one just by turning this knob. And there's also banking mode here. If I select that, which is on the far right, and you can just see it there, I can then move through the tracks 16 tracks at a time. So here I'm on track 1, which is track 1 is the kick. Click it once and I'm onto track 17, which is something called the SLSTRN, whatever that is. Up again, and then it's track 33, track 49, track 65, track 81, and so on. So all that functionality is what I'd say is the basic functionality you want from a control surface is all there. It will do a little bit more than I've shown you, but really I'd sell this to you as a control surface that is, sell it to you as a control surface that is good for the basics, does everything you need it to do, not very good for more in-depth use, which to me actually wouldn't be that big a deal because the in-depth stuff I tend to do with a mouse anyway on the screen. Certainly the plugins I tend to control that way. So conclusion would be, I think as before, yes, it's usable with FL Studio today with the script, which I think I wrote about, or I didn't actually write it. I adapted an existing script from ImageLine for the Mackie controller, the generic Mackie controller. And I did things like, you saw it jump 16 tracks at a time. That was something I added, and there's a few other bits and pieces which I spent a little bit of time trying to get it to work with the Faderport 16. Bit more time, and yes, it could be a lot better. But as I say, I'd like a tie into firmware for FL Studio tied into what we can do with scripting, and then we'd have a really great controller to use with FL Studio. So yeah, that's my conclusion, I guess. If you have one, if you've got this controller and you have FL Studio, yeah, you can make it work. If you've got FL Studio and you're looking at controllers and all you care is the basic functionality, it's a nice compact controller. Screens on it are really good, very clear. It's a nicely made bit of hardware. So in that respect, yes, it's usable. But personally, I've got loads of space here, so I would probably go for a larger controller that has better support for FL Studio, perhaps something by Icon. And I know Icon have a new set of controllers which are coming up, which I'm looking forward to seeing in the flesh. There is a video on YouTube from Nam, which is well worth a look. The Behringer X-Touch is still very usable today and has good support for FL Studio. And I could go on, but that's not what this video is about. I hope you got something out of that. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Thanks very much for your time.